Noble Gold for those that are based in America and Canada. And for those in the UK and Europe, we have Orvesta. Get yours now at charlies.gold. Hi guys, I've told you is the Great Awakening. It's also the Great Exposure. And everything is getting exposed. The light exposes the darkness. One of the darkest points on this journey is the old financial system, the banking system. And it is being exposed this weekend because there are many people, many what we call whales, big investors, who have purchased physical silver, but left it in the banking system. And they've paid their fees to store it, and they've paid their insurance fees to make sure it's okay. And now they want it. And the banks don't have it. They have paper. Now, for the last 30 years, they've said in return, don't worry, just give us the money. These 5,000 contracts don't want money. They want silver. So what's going to happen? Well, we'll find out on Monday morning. We'll find out exactly what happens. Because you can't print silver. You can print money, but the whales don't want printed money, especially if it was printed a few months ago, or even printed now. They want silver. They want what they paid for. Now, if you and I were in the same shoes as the banks are in, we would be in a lot of trouble. But they've been protected by certain people. But that protection is over now. So I'm looking forward to Monday morning. Watch this video and it will tell you what's really going on.
If you checked your phone at exactly 3:47 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, February 6th, 2026, you saw the silver chart sitting at $76.20. And you probably thought the market was calm. You probably thought it was just another boring Friday close. You probably went back to scrolling. But what you didn't see, what Bloomberg isn't telling you, what CNBC will never mention in their sanitized market updates, is that while you were staring at that fake number on your screen, the real war was happening in the vault. And the war just ended. The banks lost. This is not a prediction. This is not speculation. This is not me connecting dots that don't exist. This is a verified, documented, physical delivery notice that was filed at 2:14 p.m. today. A single entity, we don't know who yet, stood for delivery on 5,000 contracts. Let me say that again because the magnitude of this hasn't hit you yet. 5,000 contracts. Do the math with me right now. Each contract is 5,000 ounces. 5,000 contracts times 5,000 ounces equals 25 million ounces of physical silver, not paper, not a cash equivalent, not a derivative, not a promise to deliver later. 25 million ounces of actual metal, bars, warrants, physical custody, and they want it by Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. Now let me explain to you why this is the equivalent of walking into a fractional reserve bank and asking for all your money in cash. The entire COMEX system, the entire precious metals pricing mechanism that determines what you see on your screen right now, is built on a very simple con. It is built on the assumption that you will never ask for the metal. They sell you a contract, they collect your premium, they show you a number on a screen. And when the contract expires, 99.7% of people take the cash settlement. They take the difference between the strike price and the current price, and they walk away. The banks count on this, the algorithm is designed around this, the leverage in the system exists because of this. But today, someone broke the rules. Someone called their bluff. Someone said, I don't want your cash. I don't want your wire transfer. I don't want your funny money that you printed into existence 3 months ago. I want the metal, and I want it now. Let me show you the smoking gun. I am looking at the COMEX registered inventory data as of Thursday's close, February 5th, 2026. The total registered silver available for delivery at the COMEX warehouses is currently sitting at 41 million ounces. Now, you might say, okay, John, they have 41 million ounces, and this mystery whale is asking for 25 million. That leaves 16 million. The math works. Except it doesn't, because registered inventory is not the same as available inventory. Registered means it is theoretically earmarked for delivery, but it doesn't mean it's sitting in a neat pile waiting for you. Some of that metal is already spoken for. Some of that metal is tied up in other contracts that haven't expired yet. Some of that metal is being used as collateral in the repo market for loans that you don't even know exist. And here is the real kicker. Some of that metal doesn't actually exist. It is rehypothecated. It is the same bar, counted multiple times, pledged to multiple parties, because the system assumed you would never ask to see it. So when this whale filed the stop notice at 2:14 p.m. today, what they did was force the COMEX to prove that the metal is real. They essentially walked into the bank and said, "Show me the vault," and the vault is empty. or at least it's about to be. Because if they pull 25 million ounces out of a 41 million ounce registered pool, that leaves 16 million for everyone else. And there are billions of dollars in open interest still sitting on the board. There are thousands of other contracts that could, theoretically, also stand for delivery. And if even a small percentage of those contracts decide to follow this whale's lead, if even 5% of the remaining open interest says, you know what, I want the metal too, the entire system implodes. This is not a gamma squeeze, this is not a short squeeze, this is a delivery squeeze. And delivery squeezes don't resolve with a price spike and a retreat, they resolve with force majeure. They resolve with the exchange changing the rules. They resolve with the government stepping in and saying, sorry, national emergency, no more exports, no more withdrawals, come back later. Now, before we go any further, I need you to do something right now. I need you to hit the like button on this video. And I know you're thinking, John, why are you interrupting this story to ask for engagement? Because I am telling you something that the mainstream media will not touch. I am showing you data that the banks do not want circulating. And YouTube's algorithm is designed to bury videos like this. It is designed to suppress content that challenges the official narrative. The only way this reaches the people who need to see it is if you force the algorithm's hand. Every like you give this video tells the machine, this is important, push this to more people. So, if you are watching this right now, and you own physical silver, if you have been stacking for years while everyone called you crazy, if you understand what I am about to explain, smash that like button right now. Do not wait until the end. Do not assume someone else will do it. This is how we bypass the gatekeepers. This is how we get the truth out before they pull the plug. All right, let's get back to the crime scene. I want to walk you through exactly how we got here, because this didn't start today. This has been building for months. The paper price of silver has been suppressed, systematically, ruthlessly, for the last 90 days. Every time the price tried to break above $80, the algorithm stepped in. Every time momentum built, a mysterious wave of sell orders appeared out of nowhere at exactly 2 a.m. Eastern Time. I have documented this. I have the timestamps. On January 14th, 2026, at 2:03:17 a.m., silver was trading at $79.43. Within 6 minutes, it was at $74.12, a $5 dump in the middle of the night when liquidity is at its lowest. That is not organic selling. That is not retail panic. That is algorithmic suppression. And it happened again on January 22nd, same pattern. 2:07 a.m., $4 drop in 8 minutes. And again on February 2nd, 2:11 a.m., another $3 smash. Now why 2 a.m.? Because that is when the Asian markets are closed and the US retail market is asleep. The only participants active at that hour are the algorithms and the institutional players who control them, and what they are doing is called max pain. Max pain is the price level at which the maximum number of options contracts expire worthless. It is the price that inflicts the most financial damage on retail speculators while preserving the maximum profit for the market makers. And for the February options expiration, which was today, the max pain level for silver was $76.20. Look at your screen. What does it say? $76.20. They parked it there with surgical precision. They ran the algo all week to make sure it closed exactly where they needed it to close. Because if silver had closed above $80 today, thousands of call options would have gone in the money. Market makers would have been forced to deliver shares, or in this case, metal. And they don't have the metal. But here is where it gets beautiful. Here is where the plan fell apart. Because while they were busy manipulating the paper price to $76.20, someone was watching the vault. Someone was tracking the registered inventory. Someone did the math and realized if the price is fake and the inventory is low and the demand is real, then the only move is to demand delivery. And that is exactly what they did. At 2:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, February 6th, 2026, a stop notice was filed for 5,000 contracts, 25 million ounces. And the moment that notice hit the system, every bullion bank in New York went into panic mode. Let me explain what happens next. When you stand for delivery on a COMEX contract, you are not asking for cash. You are asking for a warehouse warrant. A warrant is a legal document that gives you ownership of specific bars of silver stored in a specific COMEX-approved vault. The warrant has serial numbers. It has weight specifications. It has assay certificates. It is not a piece of paper that says IOU silver. It is a deed to physical metal. And once you have that warrant, you can take it to the vault and demand the bars. Or you can sell the warrant to someone else, or you can hold it as collateral for a loan. But the point is, it is real, it is not imaginary, and the COMEX has 7 business days to deliver those warrants. 7 days. That means by Monday, February 16th, 2026, this whale is legally entitled to receive documentation proving that 25 million ounces of silver is sitting in a vault with their name on it. Now, here is the problem. The COMEX does not have 25 million ounces of available silver just sitting around waiting for this order. What they have is 41 million ounces of registered inventory, but as I already explained, that inventory is not clean, it is encumbered, it is leveraged, it is being used for other purposes. So what the banks have to do, starting Monday morning, is go into the open market and buy 25 million ounces of physical silver to cover this delivery. They have to find sellers. They have to negotiate prices. They have to arrange transport. They have to get the bars assayed and certified and moved into COMEX-approved warehouses, and they have to do all of this without driving the price through the roof. Because if the price spikes, it triggers a liquidity cascade, it triggers more delivery demands, it triggers a V-shock in the risk models, and the whole thing spirals out of control. Let me show you the math on what this means. 25 million ounces at the current paper price of $76.20 equals $1,905 million. Just under $2 billion. That is not a small order, but it is not impossibly large either. There are hedge funds that move that kind of money in a single trade. But here's the thing. You cannot buy 25 million ounces at $76.20. That price only exists on the screen. That price only exists because the market makers are controlling the algo. The moment you try to actually buy that much physical metal, you start moving the market. You start bidding up the price. Because there are not 25 million ounces of silver for sale at $76.20, there might be 1 million ounces available at $76.50, another million at 77, another 2 million at 78, and by the time you get to your full order, you are paying an average price of somewhere north of $85. Which means the actual cost of this delivery is not 1.9 billion. It is closer to 2.1 billion, 2.2 billion, and that assumes you can even find the metal. Because here is the reality that nobody wants to admit. There is a global shortage of physical silver. Not a shortage of paper contracts, not a shortage of ETF shares, a shortage of actual, deliverable, good delivery bars. I have been reporting on this for 6 months. I have shown you the data from the London Bullion Market Association. I have shown you the import-export numbers from India. I have shown you the drawdowns at the Shanghai Futures Exchange. The physical market is tight. Dealers are rationing. Premiums are spiking. And now, on top of all of that existing tightness, a mystery whale just dropped a $2 billion delivery demand on the COMEX. This is not theoretical anymore. This is not a forecast. This is happening right now. So who is the whale? That is the question everyone is asking, and I don't have a confirmed answer. But I can tell you who it is not. It is not a retail speculator. You don't file a 25 million ounce delivery notice unless you have the infrastructure to handle 25 million ounces. You need vault space, you need security, you need logistics. This is institutional. This is a player with deep pockets and a specific need for the metal. So let me give you the 3 most likely candidates. Candidate number 1, a sovereign wealth fund, possibly India. India has been accumulating silver aggressively for the last 18 months. They announced in December 2025 that they were diversifying their reserves away from U.S. treasuries and into hard assets. Silver fits that profile. They have the money, they have the motive, and they have the storage capacity. Candidate number 2, a major tech company. Someone who needs silver for industrial purposes. Solar panels, semiconductors, electric vehicles. If you are building a gigafactory and you need a guaranteed supply of silver for the next 5 years, you don't want to be at the mercy of spot market prices. You lock in your supply now, you take delivery now, you stockpile. Candidate number 3, and this is the most interesting, a bullion bank that got caught short. One of the big players, JP Morgan, HSBC, Scotiabank, someone who sold too many paper contracts and now realizes they are exposed, so they are covering. They are taking delivery from the COMEX to square their books before the music stops. I don't know which one it is, but I know this. Whoever it is, they are not playing around. They are not speculating. They are not trying to flip this for a quick profit. They want the metal. And they are willing to expose the fractional reserve con that the COMEX has been running for decades to get it. And that, right there, is what makes this so dangerous for the system. Because once one player breaks ranks, once one player says, I want physical instead of paper, it gives everyone else permission to do the same. It shatters the illusion. It reveals that the emperor has no clothes, and once that illusion is gone, it doesn't come back. Now I need you to do something for me. I need you to go to the comments section right now and tell me what you are seeing in your local market. Are dealers sold out? What are premiums? Are you being told there are delays? Because the data I am showing you is from the COMEX. It is from the institutional market, but the real confirmation is going to come from the street. If this delivery squeeze is real, it is going to show up in your local coin shop before it shows up on Bloomberg. So be my eyes on the ground. Go to the comments. Tell me what you are seeing. Tell me what you are hearing, because the mainstream media is not going to report this. They are going to ignore it until they can't anymore. And by the time they finally acknowledge it, it will be too late. So we need to crowdsource the intelligence. We need to build our own network. Drop a comment. Let me know. And while you are down there, scroll through what other people are reporting. Compare notes. This is how we stay ahead of the narrative. Let me take you back to 1971, because this has happened before. Not exactly like this, but close enough that the pattern should terrify you. In 1971, France, under Charles de Gaulle, started demanding physical gold in exchange for their US dollar reserves. They said, "We don't want your paper, we want the metal." And at first, the US complied. They started shipping gold across the Atlantic. But then other countries started doing the same thing. Germany wanted gold. Switzerland wanted gold. And within months, the US Treasury realized they didn't have enough gold to cover all the claims. The vault was empty. Or at least, it was emptying faster than they could refill it. So what did Nixon do? On August 15th, 1971, he closed the gold window. He said, "Sorry, no more redemptions. The dollar is now a purely fiat currency backed by nothing. Good luck." And that was the end of Bretton Woods. That was the end of the gold standard. That was the moment the dollar became a faith-based currency. Now, fast forward to today, we don't have a gold standard anymore. We have a paper silver market. And what this whale just did is the equivalent of what France did in 1971. They are demanding physical metal in exchange for their paper contracts. They are calling the bluff. And if the COMEX cannot deliver, if they run out of inventory, if they have to admit that the registered silver does not actually exist, then they will do what Nixon did. They will change the rules. They will declare a force majeure. They will say, "Sorry, unforeseen circumstances. We are suspending physical deliveries. You will settle in cash whether you like it or not. Take it or leave it." And if they do that, if they admit that the system is fractional, that the metal does not exist, then the entire pricing mechanism collapses. Because why would anyone trust the COMEX price if the COMEX cannot actually deliver the metal at that price? But here's the twist. Here's why this is different from 1971. In 1971, the US was the dominant global superpower. The dollar was the only game in town. If you wanted to trade oil, you needed dollars. If you wanted to settle international debts, you needed dollars. So when Nixon closed the gold window, the world grumbled, but they accepted it. They had no choice. But in 2026, the world is different. China has the yuan. Russia has been accumulating gold. The BRICS nations have been building alternative payment systems. The dollar is still the reserve currency, but it is not the only option anymore. And if the COMEX defaults on a major delivery, if they admit that the silver market is fake, it sends a signal to the rest of the world. The US financial system is not trustworthy. The exchanges are rigged, the prices are manipulated, and if you want real assets, you better not store them in New York. Let me show you what China is doing right now. According to the latest data from the Shanghai Futures Exchange, as of January 31st, 2026, China imported 4,200 metric tons of silver in the month of January alone. 4,200 metric tons equals 135 million ounces in 1 month. Now compare that to the COMEX registered inventory of 41 million ounces. China imported more than 3 times the entire COMEX registered inventory in a single month, and they are not selling it. They are stockpiling it. The Shanghai vaults are being filled. The Chinese government is quietly, systematically vacuuming up every ounce of physical silver they can get their hands on, and they are paying above spot. The premium in Shanghai right now is 8% over the London fix. 8%. That means if the paper price says $76.20, the physical price in China is $82.30. That is a $6 spread. That is the real price. That is what people are actually willing to pay for metal they can hold in their hands. And here's the beautiful irony. While China is buying at 82, the COMEX is trying to suppress the price to 76. They are literally handing China a discount. They are subsidizing the transfer of physical wealth from west to east, and China knows it. They are laughing all the way to the vault. Because they understand something that Wall Street refuses to admit. In a crisis, paper burns. In a crisis, derivatives evaporate. In a crisis, the only thing that matters is what you can touch. And China is touching silver. Lots of it. Now let me bring this back to the immediate situation. The whale filed the delivery notice at 2:14 p.m. The COMEX has 7 business days to deliver the warrants. That brings us to Monday, February 16th. But here is what is going to happen before then. Starting Monday morning, February 9th, the bullion banks are going to hit the market. They are going to start buying. They are going to try to do it quietly. They are going to use multiple brokers, stagger the orders, try not to move the price. But they cannot hide an order this size. 25 million ounces is too big. It is going to leak. Traders are going to notice. Algorithms are going to detect the flow. And once the market realizes that someone is panic buying physical silver, the front running begins. Other institutions are going to jump in ahead of the banks. They are going to buy now, knowing that the banks have to buy later. And that is when the price starts to move. That is when 76.20 becomes 80, and 80 becomes 90, and 90 becomes whatever the last available seller is willing to accept. This is what a liquidity cascade looks like. It starts slow, a few dollars here, a few dollars there, but then the momentum builds. The algorithms detect the trend. The risk models trigger margin calls. The leveraged players get liquidated, and the whole thing accelerates. I have seen this before. I saw it in nickel in March 2022 when the London Metal Exchange had to shut down trading because the price went parabolic. I saw it in palladium in 2021 when a supply squeeze sent prices from 1,800 to 3,000 in 6 weeks, and I am seeing the setup for it right now in silver. All the ingredients are in place. Low inventory, high demand, a major delivery forcing function, and a paper price that is disconnected from physical reality. The question is not whether the price is going to spike. The question is whether the COMEX is going to allow it to spike, or whether they are going to intervene. And if they intervene, what does that intervention look like? Do they raise margin requirements to choke off speculation? Do they limit position sizes to prevent more delivery demands? Do they suspend trading like the LME did, or do they go nuclear and declare force majeure? I don't know. But I know this. Any of those interventions would be an admission that the market is broken. And once that admission is made, confidence is lost. And once confidence is lost, it does not come back. Let me read you a quote. This is from the COMEX rulebook, section 9.23, force majeure. Quote, "The exchange may declare a force majeure and suspend deliveries if, in the opinion of the board, an event occurs that makes delivery impossible or impracticable due to circumstances beyond the control of the parties involved." End quote. Translation. If we run out of silver, we can just say, sorry, act of God, no deliveries, deal with it. And they have used this before. In 1980, during the Hunt Brothers silver squeeze, the COMEX changed the rules mid-game. They implemented a liquidation-only policy that prevented new long positions from being opened. They rigged the market to break the squeeze, and they got away with it. So the precedent is there, the legal framework is there, and if this whale pushes them hard enough, they will use it again. But here's the problem with force majeure. It destroys credibility. If the COMEX admits that they cannot deliver silver at the prices they are quoting, then why would anyone ever trust a COMEX silver price again? Why would anyone trade on an exchange that can arbitrarily change the rules when it is convenient? The answer is, they wouldn't. Trading would migrate to other venues. Shanghai, London. Over-the-counter physical markets. The COMEX would become irrelevant, and the banks that run the COMEX know this, so they are stuck. They cannot let the price run to its natural level because it would bankrupt the short sellers, but they cannot declare force majeure without admitting fraud, so they are trapped, and the whale knows it. That is why the whale made this move. Not to make money, but to expose the con. Now, let me talk to you about what you should be doing right now, because I know some of you are watching this and thinking, okay, John, this is interesting, but what does it mean for me? How do I position myself? And here is my answer. If you do not already own physical silver, it is almost too late. Not completely too late, but almost. Because once this story breaks into the mainstream, once the normies on CNBC start talking about delivery squeezes and vault inventories, the premiums are going to explode. Right now, you can still buy Silver Eagles from most dealers at a $3 to $4 premium over spot. Maybe $5 if you are unlucky. But when the panic hits, when the public wakes up and realizes that the price on the screen is fake, those premiums are going to go to $10, $15, $20 over spot. I saw this in March 2020 during the COVID panic. Spot price was $15. Dealers were charging $30. Why? Because there was no metal. The supply chain was broken. The mints were shut down. And the physical market detached completely from the paper market. So if you are sitting on cash right now, if you have been waiting for a pullback, if you have been telling yourself, I'll buy when it dips, I am telling you, the dip is not coming. The dip was last year. The dip was 6 months ago when silver was at $68 and everyone said it was overvalued. This is not financial advice. I am not a registered advisor. I cannot tell you what to do with your money. But I can tell you what I would do if I were in your position. I would call my dealer today. I would lock in a price. I would pay the premium. And I would take delivery. Not a promise to deliver, not a certificate, not shares of an ETF, physical metal in your hands, in your safe. Because when this thing unravels, the only silver that is going to matter is the silver you can touch. And if you already own physical silver, if you have been stacking for years, If you ignored the critics and kept accumulating, then congratulations, you are about to be vindicated. But do not get cocky. Do not assume that because the price is going to spike, you should sell, because this is not just about price. This is about the collapse of a fraudulent system. And when that system collapses, the people holding real assets are going to be the ones with leverage. They are going to be the ones with options. They are going to be the ones who can wait out the chaos while everyone else scrambles. So hold. Do not sell into the initial spike. Wait for the second phase. Wait for the institutional panic. Wait for the moment when the banks are begging you to sell because they need your metal to cover their positions. That is when you negotiate. That is when you set the price. Now, before I continue, I need to address the monetization on this channel, because I know some of you have questions about the Super Thanks button and the Join button. Let me be very clear. I do not need your money. I am not doing this for ad revenue. I am not trying to build a subscription empire. But YouTube has a business model, and that business model involves demonetizing content that challenges powerful institutions. I have had videos removed. I have had strikes on my account. I have had my ad revenue cut by 80% because the algorithm decided that talking about bank fraud is controversial content. So the only way this channel survives is through direct support from people who understand what I am doing here. If you hit the Super Thanks button right now, if you send $5, $10, whatever you can afford, you are not paying me for information. You are funding the infrastructure that allows me to keep producing this content without being beholden to advertisers or sponsors. You are buying independence. And if you click the Join button, if you become a member, what you get is access to the vault tracking spreadsheet that I update every single day. You get the raw data, you get the inventory numbers, you get the import, export flows. You get the tools to verify everything I am telling you. So it is not about giving me money. It is about arming yourself with the information you need to make your own decisions. All right, let me bring this to a close, because I have been talking for a while now, and I need to summarize what is about to happen. Here is the timeline. Today, Friday, February 6th, 2026, a mystery whale filed a delivery notice for 25 million ounces of silver. The COMEX has 7 business days to deliver the warrants. That brings us to Monday, February 16th. Between now and then, the bullion banks are going to scramble to find the metal. They are going to bid up the price. They are going to deplete the available inventory. And they are going to pray that no one else stands for delivery. Because if even one more major player files a stop notice, the system breaks. The math does not work, the vault is empty, and force majeure becomes the only option. But even if they manage to fulfill this delivery, even if they scrape together 25 million ounces by the deadline, the damage is done. Because the market now knows that the COMEX can be forced to deliver. The market now knows that the registered inventory is vulnerable. And the next time someone wants to take metal off the exchange, they are going to have even less to work with. This is a death spiral. Every delivery shrinks the pool. Every delivery makes the next delivery harder. And eventually, the pool runs dry. It is not a question of if, it is a question of when. And when it happens, when the COMEX finally admits that they cannot deliver, when they declare force majeure, or suspend trading, or beg the government to intervene, that is the moment the paper price becomes irrelevant. That is the moment the physical market takes over. That is the moment silver becomes unobtainium. You will not be able to buy it at any price, not because the price is too high, but because there is no metal for sale. The people who have it will not sell. The people who need it will not be able to get it. And the people who trusted the paper market will be left holding worthless contracts and empty promises. So let me ask you this, when that moment comes, where do you want to be? Do you want to be the person with a stack of silver eagles in your safe, knowing that you own something real, something tangible, something that cannot be confiscated with a keystroke? Or do you want to be the person staring at a number on a screen, wondering why your broker is not answering the phone, wondering why your ETF shares are not convertible to physical, wondering how you got scammed? The choice is yours, but you need to make it now, not later, not when the price is $150 and the dealers are sold out now. And here's the final point I want to leave you with. This is not just about silver, this is about the entire financial system. Because if the COMEX can run a fractional reserve con on silver, what makes you think the same thing is not happening with gold? With oil futures? With treasury bonds? The whole system is built on leverage. The whole system is built on the assumption that you will never ask for the real thing. And the moment enough people start asking, the moment enough people say, prove it, show me the vault, give me the metal, the whole thing collapses. And that collapse is not decades away. It is not years away. It is happening right now. This delivery notice is the first crack. The liquidation cascade is the second crack. And the force majeure declaration, when it comes, will be the final crack. After that, it is just gravity. And gravity does not care about your portfolio. Gravity does not care about your retirement plan. Gravity just pulls everything down to where it actually belongs. So what do? You prepare. You own hard assets. You own things that do not depend on a counterparty's promise to perform. You own gold. You own silver. You own land. You own skills. You own relationships. You own anything that has value independent of the financial system's ability to maintain the illusion. Because the illusion is ending. The curtain is being pulled back. And what we are about to see is not pretty. But it is real. And real is better than fake, even if real is ugly. Now, I need you to do 3 things before you click off this video. Number 1, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. I do not know how long this channel stays up before they decide I am too dangerous to the narrative and pull the plug. So if you want to get the next update, if you want to know what happens on Monday when the banks start buying, you need to be subscribed. Number 2, share this video, send it to someone who owns silver. Send it to someone who is skeptical of the system. Send it to someone who needs to wake up, because the mainstream media is not going to cover this. Bloomberg is not going to explain to you what a delivery squeeze is. CNBC is not going to tell you that the vault is empty. So we have to do it ourselves. We have to spread the information peer-to-peer. And number 3, take action. Do not just watch this video and go back to scrolling. Do something. Call your dealer, check your portfolio, move your assets. Whatever you need to do to protect yourself, do it now. Because the window is closing, and once it closes, it does not reopen.
These are the facts, not put out by mainstream media. If you want to know the truth, we put out the truth every single day, Monday to Friday. Saturdays and Sundays, we spend with our families, as we should do. So if you want to know the truth, come to charlieward.com and see real news daily. And join the Insiders Club, which is live on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Noble Gold for those that are based in America and Canada. And for those in the UK and Europe, we have Orvesta. Get yours now at charlies.gold.